All right. Welcome to episode 7 of the Uncool show. I think I got that number right, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
7. Lucky
Yeah.
number 7.
Lucky number 7. We thank y'all for tuning in again. I am Dylan, and here he is. It's the dude. He's got his J's on. He's looking fly. He looking fresh. It's Randy Felker.
I'm gonna have to change up the intro here in the future, Dylan. We're
No,
gonna switch it up a little bit.
nope. This is gonna be me making you look fly, dude.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
that's
shout
exactly
you
what
out.
it is.
Gotta shout you out. How
Uh,
you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right, dude. Just ready to talk about the Packers one last time before we get into some other fun stuff. But
Yeah, for sure.
this is gonna be the Packers recap, everyone, of a honestly a pretty satisfying season, I'd
Yeah,
say.
I thought this was one of the most fun
Yeah,
years I've had as a Packer fan in quite some time.
not as stressful as most years too,
No,
honestly.
definitely not. There was a lot to like this year, and after
Yeah.
a really like mediocre start with a lot of the youth figuring some stuff out,
Yeah.
we had a really good back half. Nobody thought we were gonna make the playoffs. We won a playoff game convincingly, which was a lot of
Smacked
fun,
them.
and we were a couple of mistakes away from being in the championship game. As the youngest team to make the playoffs in NFL history. So it's very cool. It was a lot of fun to cover. It goes to show how dedicated a lot of our young guys are to getting better and to
Yep.
learning the system and to learning Jordan.
Yep.
Who? Well, I mean, we'll just start with Jordan Love, I guess. We'll start with that, and then we'll move on to other players because clearly we have a lot to talk about in terms of players we thought broke out and players we think have future potential. But at the year's end, what are your thoughts on Jordan? Uh, what did you see him develop throughout the year? You know, we've talked about it on other episodes, but I feel it's important to give him his flowers and give you an opportunity to talk about what you really saw from Jordan this year.
Mhm. Yeah, so I mean, first couple games, like we've touched on in past episodes, Dylan had a pretty good start to the season. Even had a comeback win again against the Saints in week 3. Again, we kind of got a little bit far out in front of our skis there. But then we had a rough October, 4 losses in a row. I went to week 4 where we got to see the Lions dominate us on national TV
I
Thursday
forgot you
night.
were out there.
Party Marty again was super angry, but we got through it, and it was almost like Dylan, like in a way, after that 4 week stretch where even myself, I was doubting Jordan Love even a little bit. Again, I admit it, I fully put it out there. Dylan over here was one of the very few people that was like, "Bud, it's gonna be okay. He's gonna step it up." But right after that, basically Thanksgiving time, Dylan, I remember that's when me and you were talking like, you know what, Jordan's gonna have a good game today,
Yep.
and on Thanksgiving again on a Thursday he tore it up against the Lions, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And he just went on a huge tear. Finished, I think, the season with 21 touchdowns, 2 picks, something like that again. Won some very big games at the end against the Bears and the Vikings. One on New Year's Eve, and then the following week against the Bears. But yeah, overall, I mean, you kind of like with young quarterbacks still, and you see how someone like Jordan Love, first year starting, it's never like usually just a straight incline. It's always comes in peaks and valleys. Jordan had a very little kind of peak at the beginning, dipped pretty hard. Everyone was writing him off, literally the entire media, even myself a little bit, and then he just shut everyone up. And he's like, "I'm here," and he really develops that chemistry with the guys at the wide receiver room, and obviously Aaron Jones when he came back. But I think the big pivot too, Dylan, and I remember you touched on this in past episodes. He cared so much that he basically invited on Monday nights all the receivers
Yeah, for sure.
to bond and to actually review film and get that chemistry together. And that was a huge difference from obviously old man Rogers last year, who just kind of had that ego where he's like, oh no, they need to prove themselves to me. And
Yeah.
in a way, that young group in the offensive side of the ball really kind of gelled together, as everyone saw towards the end, and they had so much confidence and just energy, and Jordan was at the helm of that. And that's why I think moving forward, especially next year, there's gonna be some different expectations. But yeah, couldn't have been happier with Jordan. If we want to dissect, then the Cowboys game again real quick, he didn't have to play amazing, but he played very well. I mean, obviously Aaron Jones played really well that game, defensively wise too. But then in that 49ers game, yeah, he kind of had a couple really bad throws, like you alluded to, especially the final one to end the game. But I think he's gonna learn a lot from that. He's gonna remember that throw in particular. He's gonna remember that game, and he's gonna take it and run with it next year. And as we know, kind of sophomore years, there's always that chance he
Those
could
are
fall
always
off.
really tough on players
Yeah.
for
So
most players, but
yeah.
I mean, the reason I didn't like ever lose faith in Jordan wasn't because of, you know, things you could see on the field at that point.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of bad throws in the early half of the year. There were a lot of really bad choices, but I never saw him put his head down.
Hmm.
He never made excuses for himself after a game. Um, I knew he would continue to get better and work because he just held that kind of energy and he spoke that out and then he followed it,
Yep.
which is great. Um, that's really I'm a big believer in body language and Jordan, his body language is good all the time, no matter what. In the peaks and the valleys, he is
Hmm.
Mr. Cool, and that's something very hard to pull off and something very admirable. I feel. Like you said, he really did pull those wide receivers together. He's a great example of a young leader doing the little things to try to get everybody on the same page, everybody comfortable with each other.
Hmm.
Um, it was really cool to see him mature as a leader and as a player. He did. There were a lot of bad throws in that last game, but in that run leading up to the back, in the back half of the year leading up to the Cowboys game, we saw him make tons of unbelievable
Hmm.
throws that, they leave you watch the ball leave his hand, you're like, "Oh," but then it's like, "Oh, he just laced that one again."
Hmm.
He did
Seed.
he can definitely make those difficult Mahomes-like throws.
Yep.
He just got a little too carried away with trying to take over the game at the end and
Hmm.
you know, like you said, young players are going to learn from that. I
Definitely.
guarantee he's already watched a ton of film and, probably every night before he goes
I
to
watched
bed,
that throw a million
he's
times
thinking
already.
about
Yeah.
that, and he has proven a lot, but he doesn't strike me as somebody who will be complacent. I feel like he wants to keep proving that he
Yep.
he is who he is and he will be who he says he'll be. And yeah, I have a lot of faith in Jordan. It was a really fun year to watch, just his development and still, I think he should have been given more flowers nationally, especially 31 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive for a first year
Oh
starter.
yeah.
But uh the sky's the limit for the guy. It'll be a lot of fun next year and
Mhm.
we were very blessed in that regard to be able to watch him and watch a real fun family-like environment come around the Packers, which again with Rodgers we hadn't seen for a long time.
Yeah.
Um y- Touching on that wide receiver core, uh I think we have one of the best young receiving cores in the league. Uh,
100%. Yep.
not too many big names, not too many people who are going to the Pro Bowl or even being talked about for awards, but a lot of young guys with a lot of heart, a
Yep.
lot of things still to prove,
Speed
a lot
is
of
the big.
speed,
Yep.
a lot of good technical route running ability.
Mhm.
A lot of you can just tell dedication to their craft, dedication to the footwork, and dedication just to the team.
Yeah.
Uh, it was really who do you think breaks out moving forward? I'm big on Romeo.
Mhm.
Romeo's probably my favorite Packer out other than Aaron Jones and Jordan Love right now. I love his demeanor. I love watching him play.
Yep.
I would like to see him take more of an onus on himself to be that number one. Who do you think out of that young core? Wicks. I know you're big on Bo Melton, and I don't think a lot of people even talk about Bo. But who would you like to see stay around and uh,
Yeah.
develop with this core?
I mean, obviously Romeo, like you said, I mean, showed up big time in the Dallas game, like over 150 some yards or whatever something. But yeah, I mean, outside of Romeo, there's always everyone keeps it's crazy has been referring to Christian Watson as the number one. I don't think he's the number one. Again, I say that right now, maybe to motivate him.
Yeah, maybe he'll have
Yeah,
a better year next year.
if he can stay on the field for Lord's sake, like please, like just go one season, Watson, without missing more than like 5 or 6 games would be huge. I mean, we'll see. Um, but yeah, I really think Dontavian Wicks is going to be my dark horse to start because I think he's going to have that Devonte Adams' second year. If you look back at Devonte Adams' career, he's very similar to him in a lot of ways still. Like just again how he comes in and out of his breaks, and he's not quite as fast as Devonte, but you saw even in that Dallas game, just the routes he ran, that beautiful throw from Jordan. Him and Jordan just have an amazing chemistry.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
third down, he was by far our go-to target, and everyone kind of recognized that. And then I'd say Jaden Reed. Obviously, Jaden Reed's just such a fundamentally sound player. Great route running ability, super fast. He's a gadget player, can run end arounds, things like that. So I'd say those are the two. I mean, Bo Melton, like you just mentioned, I love that kid, Dylan. I didn't even know that he was from the Seahawks before this, but I think he's like only a second year player, and kid's fast again. And that touchdown he made against San Fran, where yes, he was wide open, but people, I don't think you realize that catch he had to make, where he kind of bobbled it and he still had to just get it last second and then get his feet in bounds. Like that's a tough catch.
Oh, yeah.
People don't realize
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's a very tough catch when you're, trying to stay in bounds there and
Especially in a playoff
in a
game.
playoff game
Yeah,
like that. So,
on the road.
yeah, I would say those 3 are all, aside from Romeo, see if Watson breaks out. And then obviously the 2 tight ends that we got, Musgrave and, Tucker Kraft. I mean, we could very easily have, again, like a 4, 5, 6, target, team on the offensive side besides Jones
Yeah.
that are all weapons and they're all cheap too, which is huge still.
Yep.
So this next year or two, Dylan, like they were saying, is I think the Packers have one of the best windows over the next 3 to 4 years to really maybe get a Super Bowl, maybe even two, if they really kind of, again, predicated off Jordan Love, taking another step forward. But
That's a ballsy
I'm saying right
prediction.
now, Dylan, I'm saying like I think the Packers very well could compete for a Super Bowl next year if they get the defensive side of the ball a little bit more with the new coordinator, which we'll touch on in a little bit. But I think,
Yeah, well, we can touch on it right now if you don't mind. I
yeah,
mean, what I haven't been able to read much about him, but from what you've told me off camera and from the
hmm
little things I've seen, his mentality seems great for a young team like this coming out of the college environment.
yep,
Uh,
Boston College,
Boston College. From what
Ohio
you've told
State
me,
too.
he sounds like he really cares about connection, cares about you know the personal side of it, but that he's also not afraid to hold the guys accountable and to fix what needs to be fixed
hmm
on that end of the ball. What have you heard about him? What have you read about him? And what are you excited about?
Yeah, so kind of when I first, was told and saw the update, Jeff Halfley is his name, by the way, everyone. I was kind of like, I don't know who that is. I mean, I didn't know. A lot of people didn't. But as I started researching and looking into him, again, he came from Boston College recently. Before that, he was at Ohio State and he was a defensive backs coach. And if you look, I think when the Ohio State defense that he inherited later on, they went from like one of like the more kind of upper like worst defenses, I guess, to like I think second in team defense over the course of his tenure there.
Oh,
So he definitely made a big impact there. And the big thing that I've heard is that there's some guys like Okuda, Jeff Okuda, and Richard Sherman, some notable defensive back safeties that have come out and said in the last couple of years that they wouldn't be where they were without him, to help develop them and everything. But what he's really kind of big on is a little bit different than what we're used to since Dom Capers came here back in like 2010, Dylan. He runs more of like a 4-3 again, which there's a lot of concerns that the 4-3 is kind of, being phased out in the NFL.
yeah,
But the thing that I notice is that he's not going to really run a 4-3. I don't think he's going to run more of like a 2-5 almost in a sense where he's going to have two linebackers still, four down linemen, and then he's going to have five defensive backs still, which I feel like a lot of teams run kind of that, dime package or yeah, dime, I should say, not nickel, where there's five defensive backs out there. Um, and he really, which we've always complained about this, Dylan, already with Joe Barry, he stresses from the secondary side press coverage, get up in their face, which I think again with the corners that we have the ability to be press coveraging and force guys to beat us, man to man at times. And that soft zone, just I'm sorry, just it works at times, but most good quarterbacks are going to tear you apart
yeah,
in this league when especially when you don't get pressure. So I'm excited about that. And he stresses on turning around for the ball too, which you would think is just, common sense for a defensive back. But how many corners in this league, Dylan, you see never turn their head around as they're running, for the ball. They just are reaching for guys. And
yeah.
so all that I'm really excited for. I really think he's going to create a good environment. like you were mentioning, the egos are going to be a little interesting to see how he kind of
Yeah, I mean,
brings that college.
translating from college to a professional
Yeah.
environment is you are dealing with a ton more ego and a lot more money
Yeah.
that everybody is having to think about and deal with, and
The selfishness and everything.
selfishness. You
Yeah.
know, people are trying to get their next contract and get this bonus and get
Yep.
that, and
Yep.
you can definitely lose the team if you lean too much into that aspect of your own ego.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he can command respect in the locker room, and
Yep.
I definitely look forward to what I think and hope will be positive change. Towards the back end of the year, the defense actually started to come together
Hmm.
for us. I'm still glad we made the move we made. Um,
There's concern he would have stayed another year.
yeah, I think we made a good
Yeah.
decision where we are and at this point with a young team. I wish our former the best. Good luck out there.
Kind of like AG.
Wherever, yeah, wherever you land, I wish good luck. Um, de- Defensively, I can't really say that anybody broke out this year for me. Um, or that we had or any like defensive player that I'm really too high on next year,
Yeah.
other than our all Rashaning. We're not talking about them. Not the already developed, already
Yeah.
really good players. We need other than Van Ness, I guess.
Yeah.
We definitely need some more juice on our defense. We need
Yep.
some young
The
guys.
draft's gonna be key.
The draft it is a key draft, and that's what I was leaning into. What safety I would imagine is going to be.
We're gonna need to definitely get a safety or
Yeah,
two because
I've been seeing a lot of mocks where
yeah,
that's like going to be our first or second pick as
well,
a safety.
and with this new defensive scheme that Jeff Halfley, the safeties are like one of the focal points of this
Okay,
defense.
that
Like
okay.
they're gonna
Yeah,
be
I have picked up
critical.
on a little of that.
And they need to be good tacklers too, and that's the one
Oh
thing I
yeah,
was gonna mention too, Dylan, that you would think is like a common sense
yeah,
thing.
yeah. In any
But no, but
position.
he does like live tackling, I've heard, where like in practice where he's like he teaches them the angles and like basically stresses if you don't tackle, you're not gonna be on the field. Like there ain't no like, oh, I'm gonna get my pants dirty type deal. Like
Yeah,
no, like
we're
yeah,
professionals.
like corners
Yeah,
are everyone. You're gonna get in there. So if Jair or anyone doesn't tackle next year, they're not gonna be out there. And as it should be, like you need to get in there. You're getting paid lots of money as even a secondary player. You need to be able to. The best defenses have good secondary tackling
yep. I
players. So,
completely agree.
but yes, safety would be the big one, Dylan. But what else do you think would from your?
I it would be nice to have a corner that we can really rely on.
Mm-hmm,
I don't know. I corners and safeties, but those are always like positions that I'm like drawn to.
yeah, because it's a passing league.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, yeah. I don't know enough about the college game to know who the good safeties are or who the good corners are in college right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, how about you? What do you think?
I'm blanking on. I haven't taken enough time yet to like look at. I'll be doing that later on, of course. But there's a couple safeties. One from Georgia, I think that comes to mind. That could be a good like third round sleeper safety, which
Yeah,
they're saying could be a gem. So maybe what I'm thinking is they're gonna go first round like offensive lineman. I think they should try and maybe get another left tackle, like a stud left tackle, because there's a couple like 4 or 5 of them in the first round that could kind of fall to us. I know we
yeah. I'm
have.
gonna have to like pay attention to the draft a little more
Yeah.
now that I'm really trying to gear up for this next Packers season.
Hmm.
The college football game has always been so hard for me to follow. There's
There's
so much
so much.
going
Yeah.
on. Yeah. I love basketball and I don't even follow college
Oh yeah.
basketball as closely as I should. Uh
Yeah.
March Madness will be fun
That will be
in a
fun.
few months. But I mean who do we have any notable like free agents? Like people on our defense that are up for deals that might not be coming back?
So I mean, Jair's
Other
staying
yeah, yeah.
from what we've seen. No one from what I've seen too significant. The one is that we might possibly lose is Savage. Go figure, maybe
Yeah.
because he's gonna want to really get paid, and I think they need to try and maybe create a deal where I want to keep him because he's a great ball hawk, as you've seen. Could have had another pick six, quite literally,
Mhm.
in the Niners game, but he's gonna want like 10 to 15 million or something crazy, which I don't think he's worth that yet. Unfortunately, he needs to maybe have like an incentivized deal. But yeah, he's one of them that comes to mind. And then I think we have all the other linemen, like Preston, Rashawn are all still good.
Oh yeah,
Kenny,
they're gonna be locked up for a while.
they should be okay. Jair's good. We got Eric Stokes still, which by the way, Stokes is gonna be a key guy to see how with Jeff Halfley, how he develops again, Dylan, because I think that kid has tremendous potential still. Hasn't really been able to play a lot this last year. But I think he could really turn it around with the new coordinator. Obviously, you got Jair, you got Carrington Valentine,
What makes you say that about Stokes
Stokes,
in
because
terms of the new system and the new guy?
I just think he has the type of talent again and the type of play style that the bump and run where he's really good at that, kind of similar to Jair back in his rookie year that I think Halfley's gonna be able to work with. And I just think it'll be interesting to see how he develops him because I think again the kid could be very good. He just needs to have the right person, I
Yeah.
think, coaching him. Um and again, Carrington Valentine was a surprise that I think will hopefully be a guy that can kind of hopefully maybe replace Rasul, which RIP again,
Yeah,
had a
that
great year and
yeah, that was
yeah. Yeah.
a terrible choice.
It was, but we'll see what they do with that third round pick or whatever they get with it. But
Yeah, maybe you never know. Maybe
yeah.
I guess I shouldn't say it. Right now.
Yeah.
It looks bad.
Yeah. But
Um,
but I think besides like you said, safety, maybe some linemen on the offensive side. I think middle linebacker is gonna still need to be a focus to go with Quay because Devondre Campbell. I'm sorry, like the guy had a good year a couple of years ago, but he's kind of starting to fall off. His age is getting to him. We need
and we were
to
asking him to do
oh
way too
stuff that
much.
he just couldn't do quite literally.
It was unfair to him, in my
Yeah, just
opinion.
too slow at
Uh,
times, and yeah,
it's like playing a guy out of position essentially
yeah,
by asking him to do those type of things.
yeah.
Uh, so what would need to, going back to your Super Bowl prediction, so to call it.
Do you want to see who we would play to?
No, no,
Okay.
your little color scheme thing. You can explain that if you'd like,
No,
but
it's all good.
uh, because it didn't come true this year, correct?
No, but they pivoted, Dylan.
Yeah, yeah.
We got another theory, but I won't say it right
You've
now.
got one. Might as well put it out there. Your color thing,
Oh, not the color thing or the other
the
thing?
color thing. That's what we're talking about anyway.
Gosh. Basically, for the last 2 or 3 years, most people that have been seeing it, it's been a whole TikTok thing, is that ever since the Rams Bengals Super Bowl a couple years back, that the Super Bowl logo has been having a color scheme, basically.
That comes out
Way early,
way
basically the
earlier.
beginning of the year. This year, go figure, it was purple and red. So everyone thought it was gonna be Ravens, Chiefs, or Niners in this case. Sorry, Ravens, Niners.
Yeah.
And it was looking like if you guys have been following the NFL playoffs, the Ravens had a pretty good shot, and then I don't know, just looked like
Randy's. I like the conspiracy theory.
yeah.
You never know, dude. You
Yep.
never know.
And there's a conspiracy theory that we're testing out too, Dylan, that I won't say right now because I don't want to jinx it, but there's definitely something for the Super Bowl that
Let's
we're
just say
testing out.
Randy placed a
A very particular bet.
very Yeah, we'll knock on wood for now. We'll let that one be. But
Yeah.
what I was going to say is what would need to happen for the Packers to make that leap? Because yes, I agree that I think we did show that we're going to continue to be a team to be reckoned with
Yep.
post Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
We we showed a lot of people some stuff towards the back end of the year. What would Jordan need to do specifically, and what do you think the team needs to do to take that next leap to be like a 12, 13 win team and really, be in that position that you think they could be in?
Hmm.
And I'm not saying that I disagree. I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you, but I
I
just want to
couldn't.
know where you're coming from in terms of
Yeah.
that type of prediction for the next year or two.
Uh,
I just want to two Super Bowls in the next 4 years, right?
I no, I'm just saying that could be the ceiling if everything goes
And
according.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like, so
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
is that ceiling in your
Yeah.
mind?
The ceiling is gonna basically be to start offensively. They're gonna have to still continue and pick up where they left off against the Cowboys, even the Niners. Honestly, the first half of the Niners game and towards the end, as we saw, they were kind of moving the ball against the
Yeah.
Niners too. So outside of those couple bad throws that Jordan had, which happened to be picks, of course. Yeah, I think again they're gonna have to feed Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, I think the statistic now, Dylan, was I can't remember if he got over 20 carries against the Niners. I'd have to look back, but He basically was 10-1 or 9-1 going into that Niners game of 20 plus carries, destroyed the Cowboys again. So first off, yeah, they're gonna have to be able to run the ball. They're probably gonna lose AJ Dillon, sadly, so they're gonna have to probably get another back in the draft, which I'm okay with. But yeah,
And you don't think they're gonna try to develop Emmanuel Wilson?
maybe, but I think they're gonna try and get another maybe a guy that I throw out there is
He had
so
18 attempts against the Niners.
okay, well, there we
18
go.
for
Didn't
108.
didn't ruin the record then. They're still 10-1 or whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, there's a guy that I want from Oregon that could be a late round guy that's very similar to Aaron Jones, but a good pass catching, fast burner from Oregon, Bucky Williams, who was killing it. He'd be a great compliment to Aaron Jones, especially because he's a good pass protector too.
Okay. Yeah,
So we could get him late round,
that would
fourth,
be
fifth
yeah.
round would be great. But yeah, Aaron Jones, key focal point, obviously. Offensive line, they're pretty deep now. They might lose John Runyon Jr., I heard, who's one of our guards. But if we get rid of Bakhtiari and then, basically kind of get a couple more guys in the draft, keep the guys that we have like Zach Tome, maybe replace the center because, what's his face?
Myers.
Yeah, Josh Myers is
Yeah.
just not it. But we'll see. Yeah, offensive line obviously is going to have to keep their momentum going. And then,
I think they had a good
oh, they
back half.
killed it. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were great. And that was
It,
instrumental in
they
Jordan's
were much better for Jordan than they were for Aaron. And I'm
100%.
not gonna say that's all energy and all like oh goodness. I thought somebody just got in a car accident outside of our
Yeah.
place. Uh I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like when you actually get along with the guy you're supposed to protect, you do try to
Yeah.
protect a little better.
A little hard.
I meant to bring that up earlier in the show because
Yeah.
I felt like our offensive line for the most part all year
Yeah.
they showed up for Jordan
No,
in
they
ways
definitely did.
that they wouldn't have
Not towards
for
the
old
end
man
of
River, you
Aaron,
know.
yeah. They used to against Aaron, but because
Yeah,
used to incentivize him with
different players back
yeah,
then too, but
yeah.
you know,
When he's screaming at them like, "Snap the ball!"
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's like,
After a while,
yeah.
you lose it, but yeah, I
And then Jordan, real quick, I was gonna say Jordan, as we know, Dylan, he played great, but consistency wise for him is gonna be so key. He has all the intangibles, all the talent, all the arm strength. Even the reading of the defenses is getting better
he's
for
got the
sure.
confidence,
He's got the
got the
confidence.
courage. Yep.
I think it's just like you said, it's a little bit of footwork. It's
Yep.
maybe his release point again on some of the deep balls. I think his deep balls were getting better towards the end of the year, but he needs to still, I think, fine tune that this offseason. So this offseason is gonna be so critical for him.
And
I mean,
the more reps he
yeah.
gives himself, and the more time he gives himself to,
Yep.
he's a worker, dude. I
Yeah.
don't think that we have to worry about that too much. I really think that he strikes me as somebody who is probably obsessive in terms
Hopefully.
of
Yeah.
the details, and in terms of the relationships that he's building with people.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, hopefully that's just not me guessing, but everything that I've seen from that young man would lead me to believe that he's not gonna, get a deal and then just sit. Like he's gonna get
'Cause
a
he's gonna get
deal.
paid this year
Yeah,
going
he's
in.
gonna get
Yeah.
a deal and then want to back it up and want to show people why he got that
Hmm.
deal. I hope and pray.
Yeah.
Um, and it's also sounding like Aaron Jones is a lock to be like a
Yeah.
Packer
He's
for the
pretty
rest of
much.
his career.
Yeah.
It's
Might as well.
barring anything
Yeah.
really weird happening. It seems like Aaron was going to be here, for the long haul, which is great. He's also one of those guys who he really has become like the ultimate Packer.
Hmm.
His love for the game, his love for the boys, his confidence in himself, his love for his family is all palpable. He's just been when he's healthy,
He's one of the best players on
he
that
is
field.
in the league.
Yeah.
I think he is one of the best backs in the
Still
league
slept on too.
when he is healthy and
Yep.
when he is really getting like 20 carries, he is producing,
Yep.
and nobody can really do much. It's all Aaron stopping himself really with health and
Yep.
conditioning, and uh, he was also just a pleasure to watch in the back half. Watching him tear through the last four or
Literally
5 weeks
everyone.
was really fun, and it
Yeah.
was a cool storyline that again the media didn't really care about and nobody really talked about, but Aaron Jones was doing some really, really fun, really impactful running for us.
Over 100 yards like
Great. It
4 or
was just
5 weeks
so
in a
fun to
row.
watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like watching an NBA player go on one of those streaks where they're just hitting jumper after
Yep.
jumper, and you know, every carry 5, 6 yards. You can
Aaron time.
see, yeah, really
Not
for
Dame time,
100%.
Aaron
Like, yeah,
time.
exactly, dude. Uh, he's been a pleasure. He's one of my favorite Packers of all time. He just keeps going up the ranks every year for me. He really does. Uh,
His dad's ashes are on the field to this day too, in Lambeau
I
because
yep,
of after
I
yeah,
remember reading that.
yeah,
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
no,
This is home.
yeah,
Um, we did. I briefly touched on Van Ness. I love that dude. I hope he pans out. I
yeah.
hope he keeps working. And
He could be a
he would
great
be a real game changer on D if he can develop.
mhm.
His body is incredible.
It's too,
He
bro.
is
Remember
fast. He's a Terminator out there.
chase down Justin
He's a
Fields?
Terminator.
Remember week 1
Yeah.
when we saw him chase down Justin Fields and
So
we're like, "Holy."
he hit that like the R2
Yeah,
on the
dude, he just
controller,
was
dude, and the
like
turbo
a
button was
predator,
on, and
dude. He
then
just Justin Fields is like, "Oh, snap,
he just
he's right there."
he locks on.
And Justin Fields is fast, as
Yeah,
everyone knows, like, for
Van Ness
football,
is a
like
freak athlete.
yeah.
If he can continue to put in the rest of the work to understand the nuances of
Yep.
the game, the nuances of his position, he's gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
I have a lot of high hope for him. He's somebody like if he pans out, I would love to get a jersey. I love that dude. I really
Jordan
do.
Love or Van Ness, though,
Well,
Dylan?
I
Yeah,
gotta get
okay,
Jordan first,
okay, yeah,
but yeah, I really like him.
yeah,
I have a fun time watching that guy play.
yeah. And then, building, like you said, off that, I think offensively, obviously, they gotta keep the momentum. Matt's gotta stay scheming. He's gotta, you know, all gas, no break. He's a great, in-game, play coordinator for sure. I think he's still I wanted to mention the guy that he hired, Jeff Halfley. There is some concern that he hired another guy that he knew, basically.
Oh,
Apparently, he knew this guy, and you always
well, I mean,
wonder.
that's how that goes.
It's how
You
it
know,
goes, but you just think like with that sometimes like with Joe Barry, he maybe, because he knew him so well, he kind of let him stay another year more than he maybe should
that he
have.
should have. Yeah,
But, I will say this guy I think is going to be so great, and as we know, Dylan, like with new energy, whether it's young energy on the player side or
or in
a
the
new
coaching.
guy,
Yeah,
you can't help but just hopefully get some momentum right off the rip and go into next year with like a new belief, new, message.
yeah.
Guys will hopefully not be like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Like they're gonna actually be like jacked up,
Yep.
and so it could be exciting. And then, like we said, offensively, they're gonna want to build off of that. I think they want to prove to people that that wasn't just a fluke last year. That
We can be an elite offense
yeah,
in a multifaceted, like you
yep,
said, 4 to 6 target offense.
we're gonna be scary. I'm telling you
Yeah,
right now. I think.
it's funny. Like you were referring to new energy. It's the same with the Bucks.
Yep.
And we'll touch on Doc Rivers in a future episode. But within a few days, both of our teams are out with the old and with the new. And like you said, new energy brings new excitement
Yep.
and new results and new
Belief.
challenges, which
Yeah.
is always cool in any professional sport. Uh, I definitely look forward to trying to. I want to try to like find some like Twitter video clips of some stuff he was running in his college uh, career and
Halfley, you're saying?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and see what he was bringing to the table with different schemes and uh, if he can really be somebody who isn't married to a system but can adapt. Uh, I think
Please adapt.
be able to adapt in any
Yeah.
career in any form of any part of life is super important, and it would be great to have a defensive coordinator who can truly adapt and
In
be able
game.
to look, yeah, in game, look at what the other team is doing and like, oh,
Yep.
they're gonna start do okay. Well, now we need to do
Yep.
that. That is how we take the next level defensively. I think is yeah, the players need to do their part, and that is always at the end of the day what it is. But a good coach gives his players the best shot to perform and
Mhm.
to shine, and hopefully we found that with him.
Yeah.
Uh,
He seems like
how
a
old is he? Do you know? He's a younger
pretty
guy, right?
young,
Yeah,
yeah. Probably in his 30s, I wanna
I
say,
like
but
that. I like
but
that
he's
a lot.
witty. He's kinda like Matt LaFleur, where he's got a great mind to him, and I think, like I said, he's not gonna be stubborn. He just wants to win, and he made that statement, I think I told you, Dylan, where he basically outright said, he's like, "I don't care what draft, pick you are or what round you were drafted or how much you're getting paid." He's like, "I'm gonna put the best players out in the field, and if someone else is, arguably outplaying you or, beating you out, even if you're like a seventh rounder, he's like, you're gonna get on the
It's
field."
not about
He's
your
like,
reputation,
yeah, yeah,
it's about
yeah,
production.
yeah. He's like,
Yep.
he's like, if you want, he's like, show me basically,
Yeah,
and
for
and
sure.
I love that. I mean,
No,
that's like in
yeah.
anything,
A great attitude, a
yeah,
good mentality to try to have and to
yeah,
build towards if you
yeah.
don't.
It's gonna
Uh,
put pressure on people like Jair and all them too. If they start slacking a little bit, he's like, all right, Jair, well then this guy and this guy are gonna play because they're actually out there tackling and
and they
everything.
stay healthy too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that injuries are a huge thing that is a factor that's out of your control. But there's also conditioning that goes into getting hurt
Mhm.
and mentality and being able to overcome certain
Mhm.
injuries that, let's face it, these guys can. And I'm not talking about Jair or any player in particular, but we know that in any professional sport, there are guys who, I could play, but I'll get a paycheck either way. I might as well sit here and, there's a fine line with that, but uh, I feel like Jair, he needs to prove that he is who he thinks he is.
He always keeps talking, yeah.
Yeah, at a certain point, the talk has to come to fruition. You got to start growing up and doing it.
Yeah.
And
He is funny, I'll give him that at times, but it's, like, almost bad
he is
taste, you know?
funny.
"The pack is back!"
He is, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
I like him, but
Yeah.
he needs to be more of a leader and less of a
Yep.
look
I
at
agree.
me, look at me. I hope he can take that next step too, because I think the guys really look up to him.
Yeah,
A lot of the young
100%.
young guys.
Yeah.
What you think? Anders Carlson will be back next year?
I think he will, but I think, they're gonna
That
have to
I feel bad for the
I
kid.
do too. Of
I
course, he
mean,
missed the field goal
yeah,
again against the Niners, that was
a
critical.
huge critical field goal, and in the moment there was nothing but like disappointment and anger.
I
But
knew after he missed that, Dylan, I was
yeah,
like
dude, I had that feeling too, and
we were
I
now
didn't want to
yeah.
put it out there, but yeah.
We both it's almost like I had
Oh,
PTSD again, Dylan, because I was
ugh.
watching it with Alexis again, and you were, out, and we were just watching. The minute he missed that, Dylan, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like
I think
I've seen this
I
before.
wrote out a text to you, dude. I'm like, I think they just lost, and then I deleted it. I'm like, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna do it. I'm not
I
gonna put
know.
that out in the universe. But
No, yeah.
I'm like, oh, that
It's
poor kid, dude. Hopefully he can. Yeah, he will be back next year from what I've seen
with
too.
competition though, for sure.
Yeah, but hopefully he can learn from that and put in the work. And kicking is a very tough thing
Oh,
to do.
it's such a tough job. I'll say that.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to
unbelievably
be a
hard.
kicker, honestly. Everyone
No,
always says that they
no.
would want to be a kicker. It's like, no, you wouldn't,
I remember
because
in college, Eli always used to joke about, "Oh, I'll go join the Carroll football team. I'll be a kicker." It's like
it's like, no, you want to be a punter,
you
Eli.
don't, yeah,
That's the one
you don't want to, yeah,
position
you
you
don't want
don't
to,
want the
you don't
kicker
want that
position.
pressure on you all the
No.
time. Well, I mean, some people do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Punting is one thing. Kicking is a whole nother. That's the best position, by the way, Dylan, is punter. Because then you don't really have to
yeah, until
worry.
you get blown
Yeah.
up.
Well, you get blown up once in a while, but like outside of that, like, it's pretty not pressure filled at all. You just got to catch a snap and punt the ball. So
I don't want to. I don't want to put too much energy into this, but do you do you think for sure that Bakhtiari will be off the books next year?
I
'Cause
hope
I
so.
keep seeing beat writers on Twitter and like, oh no, he's gonna try to be back next
If he
year. It's
plays
like
next year, Dylan, I'm fine with that because then we got Zach Tome at right tackle still, and we can have Rasheed Walker still.
he's never gonna be what he was though.
I don't think so.
Too much time and too many injuries, and his salary is
It's it's
huge.
on the surgeon though, man. I'll be honest, the surgeon really messed him up. Like, because they're the well-known surgeon that they had. I looked into this morning. I was talking to my cousin. He really botched his ACL surgery
That's too
to
bad.
the point where it just made it like
Worse
worse, and then he just
in the recovery.
then he had to do another, recovery surgery or whatever, or like a basically a fix it job, and yeah,
Yeah,
I think he really screwed him up. So unfortunately, I think his career is honestly pretty much done. If I'm being honest, I hope he proves me wrong somewhere, but I think he's done. I just don't think he can because left tackles, Dylan, it's so much stress on you in that. It's one thing if you're a center, but when you're a left tackle, you have some of the best pass rushers coming at you, and if you can't move the way that you used to, you're done. Like you're,
is next year the last year of his
I
deal.
think so. Yeah,
So even if that is sad though, because David he's been a great packer, a great leader, a really good dude in the community.
chugging beers like no other.
I see him, yeah, Bucks games. I've seen him at how many of Bucks games out chugging Aaron Rodgers and out chugging other players.
Not that
He seems like a
chugging
fun
beers.
guy. He seems like a really genuine, salt of the earth type Midwestern dude. It's great that he's here.
Yep.
I do kind of like fantasize about what we could do with that salary.
Oh,
And
40, 20. I think if we got rid of him, we could save like 22 million, which I'm like, yeah, we need that.
but teams aren't going to take that contract. I don't
No
think.
one's
So
gonna take
you know, we,
that,
we
honestly.
got to hope and pray that he can have a miraculous recovery. Crazy things happen in sports all the time, and people do come back from worse. Hopefully, David can come back and contribute, but I think we've really missed his presence in terms of maybe not his production, but
Locker room presence. Yeah.
locker room and I'm sure he's been in the locker room, but like on the field, communication and that presence that the other guys can, in the heat of the moment, know that we can depend on him. We can talk to him. We can figure it out on the fly because we have a guy who's been doing it for
Mm-hmm.
a long time at a really high level. I really do hope he can come out, do one more year, and go out with a bang, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
ride out into the sunset and retire and be with his family and all that. But yeah, Bakhtiari's a big what if still, and
He's the big contract that we have kind of left because if we clear him up, we have pretty cheap salary, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Outside of like Aaron Jones, Love's gonna get paid a little bit, but yeah, we're gonna have some really good cap room the following year. Not this year, but next year.
yeah,
The
yeah,
following year, I saw I think it was like over 100 million or something crazy, which is wild. So, um,
that would be cool to be able to put some real game changing veterans around this young core and
wide receiver too,
really
or yeah,
take that leap.
yeah.
Pivoting just a tiny bit, unless you, is there anything else on the Packers you want to address in terms of the future, in terms of what they're looking like?
I mean, I think special teams is still gonna be interesting. Like we mentioned the kicker with Anders,
Yeah.
but again, I was mentioning to you, Dylan, I would love to see. I mean, I would take Keyshawn coming back as a kick returner.
Is he not under contract?
He was a 1 year I saw
Okay.
this year, so we'll see what they do with him.
No, I would like to bring Keyshawn
But
back.
defensively, he's just I don't know. They need to use him
Undersized and
more offensively instead of defensively, in my opinion. I think they need to use him as a playmaker on the offensive side of the ball more. As you saw even in that Niners game, great return. Of course, he fumbled the ball, but thank goodness whoever it was again
yeah,
hopped on
that
that.
was
But
crazy.
I don't know. There is a guy though in the draft I was mentioning too that could be like a second, third rounder again. He's a corner too, from Iowa.
Oh, I know
That
who you're
white
talking
boy
about.
basically
I know
that
who
can
you're
run like
talking
a
about.
4-3, and he's made some great plays last year that basically just he would be great as a kick returner for us, punt returner, and then play him at corner still too. So that would be someone I'd love to add to the team. I think it's Cooper DeJean or something is his name. But yeah, outside of that, yeah, I think special teams is gonna be key. So I mean, the new energy defensively, I think will be key. Offensively, keep up the momentum. I think everyone's wanting to see that. Jordan Love again, his development, because as we know, going into second year, there's gonna be a lot of film on him now. So you always wonder, and you've seen over the years in history, and we even got some friends of ours that have kind of gotten him here, like, oh, he's gonna kind of probably fall off next year. I'm like, all right, we'll see. He may have a little bit less good of a year, but I think he's still gonna.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, I
He's
think
hearing all that too.
yeah.
He'll
So,
he'll work through it.
but yeah, no, I got nothing else. You can pivot.
Well, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl quick.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we're a week out,
Yep.
well, less than a week out, 6 days out.
Yep.
Your bet, not we don't need to like go into that, but what is your heart telling you, and what is your mind telling you about the Super Bowl? Who do you think comes out on top,
Honestly,
and
heart
why?
and mind is it's going to be the Chiefs just
Yeah,
because of the whole stupid Taylor Swift theory, obviously, too. I mean, you think about it like,
stick to the football.
yeah,
I don't care
but
about Taylor Swift.
yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, like, that is whatever.
She has
Yeah,
nothing to do with the game.
you're right. But
Why do you
yeah,
think the Chiefs are going to win
I think they're going to
football
win just
related?
because they find ways over the years. We've seen that Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelsey, that whole team, they just find ways to get it done. I
They've
mean,
been there before. They've been doing it.
yeah,
Would you consider them a football dynasty?
if they win this year, for sure, they
Yeah,
will be because that'll
that would
be
cement it.
Patrick's
Yeah,
third one, I think. Yeah, third
100%.
one, but they've been to like 4 Super Bowls, I think now because he lost the one. Right? Yeah,
I think they've been to
yeah,
4.
they lost
Yeah,
to the Buccaneers, so yeah, so this is their fourth one, I think.
yeah.
In the last 5 or whatever 6 years. So yeah, we'll see. And they played the Niners before too, I think. In like it was 2019, 2020. We were at yeah. So it's almost like a rematch. No Jimmy G this time.
Yeah,
Now it's little
I mean,
Brock Purdy, but
Brock is better than Jimmy though.
yeah, for sure. But
Uh,
I don't know. Brock's been kind of like
he didn't play great against us, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think the Niners, playing devil's advocate. I agree.
yeah.
I think the Chiefs will win.
I could see the Niners winning. I'm not
They have a
saying
lot
that,
less
but yeah,
pressure on them. I think they're the underdog.
for sure.
I think that they could adopt that mentality of
Yeah,
kind of like we talked about for the Packers playing the Cowboys. Nobody thinks we're gonna win. We might as well just go out there and
Yep.
play with no expectation and no pressure.
Yep.
Of course, there will be pressure, but you know what I'm saying. I agree. I think the Chiefs will win. Uh,
You want to give a score prediction, Dylan?
no, I'm not gonna jinx your voodoo, dude. I'll leave that to you.
No voodoo, just blind faith.
Just betting. Yep,
Blind
just
faith.
betting. But I'm excited for the Super Bowl. It's always fun. It's always an event. I have a feeling it could be a blowout. I'm just hoping for a good game either way. Just a close,
Yeah.
entertaining game and not like
Yep.
a shellacking, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, we're gonna be hosting a little bit too, cause some friends are
Oh
coming
yeah,
through.
well,
So
people coming over. If
yeah.
anybody watches this who hasn't been invited, just reach out and
Yep.
if you're not a serial killer, you can come over. And as long as you're not hurting people or freaking us out, you can come hang out.
Or hating on the
Or
uncool
or
show.
hating or yeah,
Yeah.
no haters here, dude. No
No
haters
haters.
allowed.
When there's haters, Dylan, like certain people have told us, we're doing something right.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
I'll leave it at that. But
Yeah, how dare us have fun and talk about sport,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
The
Who do they,
nerve the
who do they
nerve of some
who do they
people.
think they are, thinking they can just start a
It's
podcast like
crazy,
everyone
you know?
else and actually put themselves out there
Uh,
and gosh, it's
you
not the
guys sitting in
craziest setup yet, and but we like it, people, and we enjoy it, and
yeah, just having fun.
yeah, and we're in this for the long haul again. So, and again, this is gonna be the last Packers one for
For a
sure.
while, yeah, which is kinda sad. We had a
Yep,
t this season will always be kinda special to me because it's like
that's how we kind of
it's how
started.
we
Yeah,
started,
yeah,
it's like what we started
yep,
talking about.
yep.
We're gonna do some Buck stuff, but beyond that,
We got some.
we got some other pop culture content. We got some movie content. I've reached out to a friend of mine about talking about music. My
Mhm,
my friend Ben, the drummer that
mhm.
uh, we're gonna be having a bunch of weird stuff. Oh, we're gonna start shooting in different places. I have an idea of a cool backdrop that
Okay,
uh,
to mix it up.
we can go travel and shoot somewhere else. Um, we're gonna start just trying new stuff, and anybody who has any ideas or wants to be a part of what we're doing as a guest or just
Yep,
whatever,
got
hit
them
hit
reps
me
in
up,
now.
hit Randy up. But we are open to any ideas really, as long as it's pre-planned out and all that. We'll have fun with it. And again, we love all the support. We love you guys for giving us a shot, and we want as many people to have fun and just enjoy what we're doing the way we are. So again, if you have any ideas, any topics, or anything that you are passionate about that you want to make some content uh, surrounding,
Hit our
let us
line.
know. Yep,
Yeah.
it'll be a lot of fun, and we really do welcome any type of collaboration. So, with that, I don't really have anything else. It's been a fun season for the Packers. We really do appreciate it, and we're looking forward to broadening out. It'll be fun.
Yep. All gas, no brake, people. It's fitting for us moving forward with the pod still, but yeah, go Pack go. It's gonna be a little bit until you guys hear us talking about it again. Hopefully the Super Bowl's entertaining, like Dylan said. Again, we appreciate the love and support. Next episode that we are doing will not actually be sports related, and we'll leave it at that. So,
Yeah, it'll be something a little different, and
yep,
we're gonna try to hit a different lane and
yep,
talk about some stuff that
actually matters a little bit.
matters and
Yeah,
has some reverberation in pop culture and in the world right now.
yep.
So, yeah, again, thanks Randy for all you do. Uh,
Thank you, Dylan, for all you do.
yeah, man, I'm blessed to have you. You're one of my favorite people in the world, bar none.
Back at you, buddy.
But yep, episode 7, Uncool Show. Thank you very much.